Welcome back to the All Out NRL Fantasy Podcast. Round one is in the books, and Benz, we scored quite well, the All Out team. And I want to preface this because we have one team, which is the All Out team. We all have an individual team, but we only flex that one team. So the pressure is on with that one team. And we did pretty well, mate. 1,200th overall, I believe. Let me get the specific. 1,262 with a score of 952 after round one. Cooking.
I just want to know who was it that actually looped Metcalf, because they deserve something special.
They do deserve something special, don't they?
And you know what I was thinking as well is the All Out team is effectively like an investment committee. It's like 4 very, very intelligent fantasy players coming together, having a meeting every week and making the best possible team. And top 1,200. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. We were top 1,000 after the round, but then some boosts and some negative boosts came in and they sort of impacted us. But it sort of reflects how close it is after round one, because it's round two where the difference kind of makes. If you can back it up round two, then you're ahead of the pack.
And put it this way, the guy who's winning the whole comp doesn't have Cleary. I'm not hating, but usually that's not a good strategy.
No, not normally, but it does suggest in recent years that Cleary is the way to go.
Yeah, the cream will rise.
Yeah, so a great week for us. If you haven't seen our team, we did post it on the Instagram, which is absolutely flying. Highlights for me, Connor Watson and Tom Gilbert, 65. Isaiah Yeo obviously scored a try in Vegas, 68.
Isaiah Yeo is just a 68 and he's just guaranteed 65 and move on.
Yeah, I want to talk about a few minorities that are in our team that just don't get the love as well. Greg Marzhew, a late call-up.
Oh, special.
You know, you like to see those players that were late call-ups coming into the team and really putting on a good show.
That last wing fullback spot, we were bamboozled. We had no idea what we were going to do with it. And Marzhew was a late adding, and thank God we added him.
Yeah, and I can tell you now, listeners, we did have Isaiah Tass there at one point, and I was stressing.
I nearly quit on the spot. I was nearly retired.
Yeah, we did have Stafford Toa, and when you think big brain, you think these type of plays. We looped Metcalf, which we knew we were sort of dodgy about, so his 21 didn't count. And then we also had Stafford Toa in our centre position because we knew he was going to get picked round 2. So that gave us a chance to see what Rob Toya was going to do. And then if he doesn't do well, get Purdue in. And it just paid dividends at the end.
Absolute genius play. Like, what's new? We're thinking ahead of the pack.
Yeah. Thinking way ahead here. And these are the plays that make or break your season. You know, so round one and you're making plays like that, I'm all for it. If you look at the bench, Corey Horsburgh got off to an absolute flyer with about 4 offloads in 10 minutes. The only disappointment of our team was Alex Seyfarth, who, look, all in all, there's no aura.
There's no aura from him.
There wasn't.
He's got to go.
There was a few missed tackles and errors that slumped his score.
He had a HIA as well.
Yeah, and
doesn't help.
Purdue was on our emergencies in a loss that was quite diabolical from the Cows, so we won't really touch on that.
Yeah, anyone from the Cowboys, oh man, it's going to be a rough year. I've got Scott Drinkwater in my personal team, and I think he touched the ball about 3 times in the whole half, scored with one of them. Thankfully, clutched to 38, but man, after that game, I think you might be going.
Looking outside the all-out team, though, mate, is Payne Haas with a massive 81. I was stressing big time that we didn't have him at the start because, you know, it's Payne Haas for one.
It was like 55 in the first half or something. I thought our career might have been over. But yeah, we do have Yo as our gun forward, and obviously May got 76 as well, and Gilbert 60. Our forwards, we can't really complain, really.
No, you can't.
But yeah, if you had Payne Haas, fair play, and he's probably a great captain choice for the rest of the year too.
Moving to the All-Out League. Now, this is quite impressive, this stats. 4,710 of you in the All-Out League. We're currently sitting 104th in our own league, which is not too bad, but it's Jade Y, bullied by Brisbane, who
I love the name.
Her team name is coming first. Overall, second. So the person who's coming first overall isn't in the All-Out League.
That's disrespectful.
That's so disrespectful.
They deserve all that hate.
Yeah. I'm liking this team from Jade. She's got Haas, Terrell May, Connor Watson in the front row, Hosking and Seyfarth. Threw a Munster in there who played really well, and a rogue Shibabarski. Shibabarski play, who ended up getting 54. So she's cooked there. Really
fair
well
play.
done.
Bullied by Brisbane. I'm rooting for you.
Yep. Look, mate, looking ahead to round 2, TLT. Look, in my personal team, not the all-out team, I've decided to go David Fafita, and he's been named on the bench.
Yeah, I think anyone who got a Titans player, you're happy this week because I think they're due for a big week. And having that loop last week, I know a lot of people had Campbell, Brimson, Fafita. That would have been a good loop last week, and now this week, I reckon Fifi is going big.
Well, he's on the bench, mate. This is what? This is what I mean. He's on the bench. Like,
he's on the bench.
He's got 60. I give him still 60 minutes, but he's been named on the bench for Cleese Haas, which I'm slightly concerned about. Like, what's he done wrong? Has he missed a team bus or has he done something wrong?
That's just outrageous. I can't believe I got excited for you.
I know.
What?
So I've got 780K sitting on the bench for another 20 minutes at the starting
Diabolical
game.
decision.
So I'm stressing a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get to that when we get there. Knights, Dolphins. I'm not really seeing much news. I liked what I saw from Ponga on the weekend. He got involved.
He's him.
Dolphins.
Terrible.
Look, do I dare say road captaincy shout for Ponga this week? Like they weren't great.
Yeah, the Dolphins looked so bad. And to be fair, I reckon the Rabbitohs looked terrible as well. It was pretty much just a battle of the bummies there. But I think KP is going to tear up against these bottom 8, do I dare say team. I think he's a great captain option this week.
Dylan Lucas was a shining light in our team for round 1. He's in that centre spot, got 50, averages 50 at the second row. My only concern is Adam Elliott comes back into the side this week. Does that mean Lucas doesn't get the full 80? I don't think so.
I think he plays 80.
I think he plays 80.
And the way he played last week, it's so good. And everyone knows as well the centre is the lowest scoring position in fantasy. So if you can have a second row that plays there in your centre all year, set and forget, it's GG. I'd be trying to get him in if you don't have him already.
Yep. Oren Keeley for the Finns gets the start because Fine Fuiaki and Connolly Lemuelu are both out. I wouldn't be buying him, but it does suggest that the Finns are down on troops, which means maybe the Knights just go straight through them, which will be enticing stuff.
KB, who's going to cook?
Let's crack on to the Warriors Seagulls. Turbo looked like his very best on the weekend. Again, we said Dally M year for Turbo in preseason, didn't we?
Saying that, he had so many try assists and line break assists, and he only scored, 58 or something?
Yeah.
It's like, although to be fair, if he scores a try, his score is probably 70 easily. But he's looking like the real deal this year. Dally M smoky for sure, and I'm glad I picked him.
A lot of people went Chaz Tavanga on the weekend. Not too sure about what that logic was.
Who the hell? Who would be getting him?
Yeah, I don't really see the logic there for Tavanga with Croker coming back soon-ish, I believe, as well.
And Simp on the bench too.
17 points.
Look,
I'm not liking it. Yeah,
I don't know. We had a few DMs of people saying, like, asking about him, and I just didn't really understand.
I didn't see like I didn't see the why in Tavanga there. So we'll move on. Going to the Waz, they were terrible on the weekend as well. Metcalf, mate, thoughts?
Oh man, Metcalf. He was everyone's biggest headache, really. Obviously, I started him as well. 24 points. The only thing is he's so cheap. I guess you could replace him for Humphreys. That would be the most logical choice.
Yep.
But in saying that, I don't know. There's a reason we got him, all right? He's starting half. He had a terrible game. He had about -20 in missed tackles and errors. I feel like give him another week or two, but I also just wouldn't blame you if you have to get Humphreys in.
Yeah.
That's my take.
The only issue I have with that is, does Humphreys actually keep the 7 role? He played a blinder on the weekend. Don't get me wrong. He played an absolute blinder.
There's rumours he might find a spot in the centres or something.
Okay.
Because he played that well in the first round. I think it would be pretty diabolical if they just dropped him altogether. I think it's his spot to lose at the moment if they keep winning games.
Yep. Okay. Well, happy there. Panthers, Cleary with a sound 50 on the weekend. We sort of expect better things from Cleary as a captaincy option, of course.
It was Vegas.
It was Vegas. It was a smaller ground.
Sharks as well.
Sharks played
put up
well.
A great fight.
Yeah. If the Roosters play like they did on the weekend against the Broncos, Panthers could absolutely run through them here, and Cleary could turn up.
There's some great captaincy options, and I know we were just raving about KP, but against the Roosters with Chad Townsend and Sandon Smith in the halves, oof. Cleary's my captain. I'm sorry. I've changed my mind already.
Yeah, you got to go Cleary, don't you? Brian To'o's back. If you're a super coach player, get him in your team. So he'll score a lot of tries this year, which means Garner goes back to the bench. Roosters, Victor Radley's out with concussion. And I'm looking down that list and I'm not seeing many buys for the Roosters. Rob Toyer played a blinder on the weekend in a losing side.
Yeah, he didn't even score a try and he got 61. So if you don't have him, get him in because he's the real deal. We were raving about him for a reason preseason.
We've known this since we was 12 years old.
Exactly.
That he's going to be a fantasy stud.
Different. He's insane.
Marky Mark played a pretty good game for 35 points, I believe it was. He's in my team at the moment. Just needs to get involved in attack a bit more.
He was on about 24 or something at halftime. Had a bit of a slow second half, but I think he's actually got not bad potential. If they start scoring some tries, which is a big maybe, he's actually not the worst option. No,
I agree, mate. Drags. In a losing side, they actually didn't play too badly. Valentine Holmes was the standout for me. He got about 60 points. I'm not suggesting to buy him because Dylan Lucas and Garrick are probably a go. But I did like what Val was putting down. And of course, for the Rabbits, you decided on Humphreys. He's got that 7 roll again. Does he keep it? Yet to know.
That's the question.
Yeah.
And for me, after that massive score that he got about 75, his break even's going to be so. It's probably the lowest out of everyone. I think it's a pretty low risk play, to be honest. As long as he keeps his spot somewhere in that team next week.
He's 403K now. Jeez, -6 break even. Jeez.
It's a big if.
Jeez.
But if you don't get him and then he keeps that spot, it's just you're shooting yourself in the foot. That's the issue.
Metcalf, 429K, break even of 38.
It's not the worst, really.
I'm seeing a sell already, honestly.
But 38, I feel like he could easily surpass that
You reckon?
in a good day. But
Tough one, listeners.
I do think the Wires are a bottom 3 team this year.
Yep.
Sorry, Wires fans.
Yep.
So I think for me right now, the most logical thing is Metcalf to Humphreys.
Lachlan Hubner churned out a really good 34 on the weekend. Despite being only 34, he did miss a few tackles, but he put on some absolutely massive shots.
Yeah.
And he likes an offload.
Yeah, I actually like him as a fantasy player, but he played 60 minutes as lock. Like he had the opportunity to do well. He just had a few negatives in there. But for me, I think he's going to be my bench again. I think 34 was a bit dodgy. You could have done better than that.
Yeah, I agree. Where to for the Cows? Jason Tamalolo is listed among the reserves as he nears full fitness. Look, Todd Payton, he could be the first coach to go this year. That performance from the Cows on the weekend was unacceptable.
It was embarrassing. And it wasn't even, it was just the amount of 6 agains and penalties they were giving. Oh, as a coach, man, he's under the most pressure out of everyone for sure.
Sharks coach Craig Fitzgibbon has gone with the same 17 from last week. Nico Hines, we had him as a buy in Vegas. I'd just be sticking with him.
Yeah,
just stick around Hines. He'll be fine.
Once again, there's another great captaincy option.
Yeah.
There's 3 I've said now. I'm just giving you all the sauce this week. But against those Cowboys, the only thing is Cowboys playing at home, so I'd definitely rather Cleary. But he's definitely another one that would be such a buy if you can get him in.
Do we predict a Hines over 50, and then if it's not a 50, it's a punishment type thing here?
Yeah, sure. Comment a punishment we can do. How about that?
Yeah, and that'll be your punishment for the week.
Yeah, sure. For me and you.
Eels.
So just before we move on, John Bateman for Cowboys, he was one that I sadly missed. And he was 595K, and he just scored 55. He might have even gone up after boosts. But is he someone that you're thinking about getting in? He's still pretty cheap.
Mate, he was in my team the whole time.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, I decided, you know what? Let's spice it up and get David Fifita. So I stuffed up my team just to get him in, which probably ruined my chances of getting him back. Do I go him now? 48 break even, 600K.
It's kind of hard to get him in.
It's hard to get him in.
I think he's going to be a reliable scorer all year, and I think he's going up to 720K. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think the bigger must-have is Tom Gilbert, who's 529K and has a break-even 19. So
he's a dog.
If you can get him in because he made 50 selling tackles on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's impressive stuff. And someone that we didn't mention for Manly who was in our team, Ola Kawatu, he was on 30 points after 10 minutes with that brilliant try. 69 points. Mate.
Then again, he won't be versing Jackson Purdue, debut 19-year-old. Not to say he was bad, but a debutant 19 years old center. It was a pretty rough matchup for him.
Yeah, I agree, mate.
But in saying that, Ola Kawatu, he's a real deal.
Is a buy. Raiders Broncos. This shapes up to be a really good game on Saturday for the Bronx. 2 teams that potentially could make the top 8 this year. Broncos, I mean, they should be making the top 8. Zach Hosking gets the 12 jersey again. Corey Horsburgh starts at prop. Do we like what we saw with Hosking to get him in your side, mate?
The only reason I didn't get him was because they did have that interchange where they had second rows there, and he didn't actually play 80. He played about 60 or 62 or something.
Well, Matty Nicholson's on the bench this week as well, so that could impact his score.
And the only reason why I didn't get him was because of that, but he still goes and gets a great score. So it's like, if you have him, keep him, but I also wouldn't be rushing to get him in because it's a bit of risk, I reckon.
Yeah. Tamale, who we did say was an avoid, purely because Albert Hopewadi was coming back for this second round, who has been named. The only issue being that Xavier Savage did get suspended for that 1 week. Do we see Tamale being a buy now? Do you risk it with Savage coming back?
Nah.
I really don't know. I don't think you do. I won't be buying him.
Same case. If you have him, obviously keep him. He's going to make some money. But I do think Savage and Hopewadi are the preferred starting combo. It's pretty lucky that Savage got suspended in the first week, but I wouldn't be risking to get him in because I feel like a bit risky. And also, at the end of the day, he's a winger. You know, like he's not going to go up that much in value.
No.
He had a really good first game, but I'm not rushing.
Yeah, I don't see the Broncos leaking those defensive errors as well that the Wires did.
No way.
Where to for the Eels? They play West Tigers this weekend, who both teams are in desperate need for a win. Let's start with the Tigers first. Buller is back, and so is Stafford Toa, which we mentioned, who is in our team.
250K, Stafford Toa.
Mate, I reckon we start him this week. Rob Toya, he's got Penrith and Purdue. We saw what he put out on the weekend. I think Stafford Toa is going to be a good buy, and I'm going to start him, I reckon.
I like it. I'll be starting him too.
Yeah. Terrell May back to his usual best for the Tigers. Another captaincy option.
Yeah, he
Easy.
is. I was calling him Payne Haas from Wish, but he's actually, that's disrespectful to say it. He's Terrell May.
He's Terrell May.
He's earned his name.
Yeah.
He's really that good. And yeah, once again, another great captaincy option, but Cleary, come on now.
Yeah. We touched on Seyfarth. He'll turn it around this week. Iongi, 28 points. Hoping he turns it around. He really got bailed out with that try in the last minute there to boost his score. Otherwise, he was on for a shocker.
Yeah, well, it's kind of conflicting because he's in the all-out team, so I was happy, but I didn't get him in my personal team because I could sense a dud. So 28, just so-so.
Yeah, Hopgood, there was talk that the all-out team was going to get Hopgood 47 on the weekend. I think that was a good miss from us.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to do well again, but when you get absolutely destroyed by the Storm, it's pretty hard. But yeah, he's not someone that I'd be rushing to get in now that he's going to go down in price especially.
For the Titans this week, and this brings back one of the great segments, the Fish of the Week. And this week's Fish of the Week is AJ Brimson. We welcome him to the first Fish of the Week of 2025.
Welcome.
He was in my team on my emergency, so I could loop some other players. He just seems like a buy for me this year. And he's versing the Doggies, who are great defensively, but you know what? AJ, Fafita, Campbell, they're going to tear him up.
Yeah, they've also had an extra week and a bit compared to every other team. They're going to have that energy. The last game on Sunday, he scores really well in that position. And I think Titans are due for a pretty decent year, you know?
Yeah, I've been saying this for quite a while now, that these guys are making the top 8.
And he's 480-ish K. He's definitely got upside there. I definitely don't blame anyone for trying to get him in or keeping him if you haven't already.
If you want to go a big pod play, Tino Fasulamoawi, and I know how to pronounce that incorrectly, get off my back. But he is a big pod play for me. He's 700K. He's in 2.4% of teams. Minutes bearing, he probably plays 60 odd. We know what he can do.
Yeah, 700K is just such a, it's so hard to get him in. Like, who are you selling to get him? That's the issue.
Yeah.
And saying that, he's definitely a good pod, but it's just, I don't think there's anyone really that you can sell to get him.
And if you're like me, who went over Feeder in their personal team, you're really crying at the moment. You're really crying. 780K, and he's on the bench. You really wonder what Des is doing. Like, you got this massive beast that's on the bench,
He's
just
trying to
sitting
do too
there,
much.
probably on a really small plastic chair, waiting to get on. Let him run at bloody kick out.
Insane.
Let him run at him.
He comes on 20 minutes in. All the forwards are pretty gassed. He gets the ball on his hands. I think he's a good chance to score.
Yeah, it's go time. Doggies, not really much news, mate, other than they probably look the real
Preston
deal
was
this year.
pretty mid.
Yeah, Preston was mid. I'm glad we avoided him.
Yeah,
that's all I can say.
I'm not a massive fan of really any of their forwards fantasy-wise, to be fair, other than Preston. But now that he's going to go down in price, I reckon keep an eye on him. 3 weeks' time, he'll be a good pickup.
The boys will do a buy, hold, sell podcast after this one, but some real quick buys and holds, maybe potentially from you. Who's your buy of the week so far?
Oh my goodness. I think Humphreys, for me, is my number one.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that, there is a little bit of risk. If you want to play it safe, I probably wouldn't be getting him. Humphreys for, who am I saying? Metcalf. I feel like that's going to be the most common trade across the whole fantasy app. In saying that, I think that might be my only trade. Just remember, you don't need to use all your trades, guys. All right?
No, you don't.
And the reason I won last year, sorry to flex on you, the reason I won is because I saved my trades. That's how it goes.
Yeah, okay, mate. No, enough from you. Yeah, enough.
My bad. What about you? What do you reckon?
Oh, mate, it's tough. I reckon a good buy this week, while he's still cheap, is paying ass.
Yeah.
844K, and I say cheap. He's 49 break even. He's going to get that every week here on in.
He could be $1 million man.
He could be another $1 million man. So I reckon it's now or never for Payne Haas if you want to get him. Otherwise,
Tom Gilbert, I've just said before, he got
Tommy
65
Gilbert,
with absolute ease. They didn't even play well. I think he's going to average near that 60 all year.
Yeah, I think he's the buy of the week for me, Tommy Gilbert, for sure.
529K, that's disgraceful. He's going to make another 150K easily.
Absolutely, mate. We'll leave it there. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow the Instagram, do all that jazz. Leave a comment on what punishment Bentley should do if Hines doesn't doesn't get 50. Let's make sure we're all doing that. And we'll see probably Dor, who is coming from work for the Buy, Hold, Sell podcast on Wednesday. Enjoy your Thursday night football. Go Ponga.
Enjoy. Go Broncos.